Welcome in to tonight's edition of the Cavalier Connection. I'm your host, Jeff, joined by Jay. And tonight, no intro music needed. We're going to get straight to it. Our Mentor's moment of the week. We're gonna share our guy Ty Jerome.
Just for a brief
Yeah,
time.
almost. We didn't get to
Almost,
play
right?
together. I came in that year, and then he ended up getting
Yeah,
traded.
that was his last one.
That
Yeah.
was his last one, yeah.
Jerome fires a three. He knocks it down again.
He releases it and immediately gets that basketball out of your strong hand.
Jerome over Gordon. Hey, knocks it
Man,
down.
I'm
Jerome
telling you,
was
this
going
guy
nuts.
tied Jerome to him, and he's coming around you. That's a smart basketball player.
Half of that vote comes from fans, the other half from media and from NBA players. Jerome is all by his lonesome and makes no mistake. He took advantage.
Yeah, you got to pick up those 50-50 balls. Cavs got to win those hustle points. Got to get those possessions.
Jerome
Here goes
slashes
again.
inside. He'll float and score. Ty Jerome has taken four
We sure do
shots.
miss that in
And he has
Charlottesville.
13
Oh, we do.
knocked to the floor. Struz picks it up, goes to Niang. Jerome's all by
All
himself
by
in the
himself.
corner.
Don't leave him alone.
He'll fire.
There's
Hey,
another one.
knocks it down and credit
How many is that,
Max.
Jay? Is that 5?
But Max Spruce here,
like
that
that.
basketball's loose. We just talked about it 2 plays before, getting those 50-50 balls. Good things happen every time. It ends up with a nice three-pointer there by Ty Jerome. Come back to the other. Look at Ty Jerome, very aware of where his feet are at. Nice play by
76ers.
Always
taking
aware
this
on the court.
5-point lead. Ty Jerome to the hole. Boy, he collided with Bona. Both men went down.
Don't want to overrun the play defensively.
Mitchell back
Another-
to
that's
Jerome.
deep.
Ty
That's
Jerome
deep.
fires and
That's
hits.
buzzer.
Ty Jerome
They better
is
get
a
somebody on
perfect
that,
5
man.
for 5 from 3-point range. Bringing you all these sights
That
and
voice sounds
sounds
like
here
similar to
tonight.
Dave Kane,
Fourth
too.
quarter is underway. Ty Jerome from the foul line
There he goes
floats it
again.
up and floats it in. Eventually
Here it
grabs
comes
it.
again.
Jerome
Look
bounces
at
through
that
to Allen.
pass.
Allen
Get it
stops
back
back
to
to
him.
Merrill. Now it's Jerome. He'll
Woo!
fire. Ty
That's it.
Jerome is having that number will skyrocket.
Uh-oh,
He's having a
uh-oh.
night.
By the time
Better
we
get
wake
on
up
him.
tomorrow
Better
is
get on
here's
him.
Jerome
That's deep.
again.
That's
Ty
Steph
Jerome
Curry.
cannot be
Steph Curry
stopped.
right there.
That's 7.
Have scored the last 9
Hey, Paul George,
points.
where you at?
This one was from Broad Street.
Tell you what, he
Broad
is
Street.
absolutely
I'm not a fan of
a
Broad
predator
Street
on
right
that
now.
offensive end of that 4. You turn your back on
Trail by 4. It's a 2-possession game.
They left
Mitchell
him alone
off to
again.
Jerome. Jerome fires a 3, and he hits again. Ty Jerome with a
Hey, Mentor's moment of the week. Ty Jerome, 33 points, 8 for 8 from 3. It's a situation where, basketball has let us down this past weekend. So when you looking for a Mentor's moment, we had 2 choices this week, actually. Just last night, right off the bench, DeAndre Hunter, 35, career high 35 points. Yeah, who's in the NBA getting the job done?
We need to be
But
looking out for like a J Huff unicorn dunk,
that,
block
that's
dunk.
that's a great point, Jay.
Do the
But
monster.
Mentor's moment of the week there. Where do you think this hat came from, Jay?
It won't Walmart. I
It
can tell
won't
you that.
Walmart because you know why? This is quality, well made. It's
Jeff,
coming from
what about-
Mentor's. Hey, listen, who got that for you? I made the drive up to Charlottesville, folks. If you've been
Santa
tuning
who?
in, I finally was able to get the gear in
Yep,
the
I
Jay's bin.
appreciate that.
We make the trip up to Charlottesville, hit the Mincers out at the corner, checking in on some of their deals. Jay and myself and Jack all got us basketball jerseys. And look at this one. Look, hasn't been a great year in basketball, but this is the Tony Bennett appreciation shirt. It's really cool. I'm gonna turn around so everybody can see it, but it gives all of his highlights of his career.
And that's the 5 pillars
Yep, the 5 pillars all
on
his
the front.
stats. So you can't beat that quality from Mincers. 2 locations at the corner in Charlottesville and at the shops at Stonefield. Free parking over at Stonefield's location. Orange tag deals. When I was there that weekend, orange tags were flowing out
I don't
in
doubt it.
front of the store, out inside and inside the store. Deals to be had. You got to check Mincers out. and I hope you enjoyed our Mensor's moment. So as we get ready to get started here, tonight we're going to talk a little basketball from Notre Dame, pretty quick. You can glaze right over it because there won't much to talk about. And
That
then
was
we're
a snooze
also
fest right from the jump. The
Yep.
most exciting part was the post game press conference to me,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes, and that's what we're going to talk about, and then we're going to dive into a little football schedule tonight. So the Who's lost to Notre Dame 74-59. Jacob Kofi had 17 points, and McNeely had 14. But really, the highlight of the night was Jack was in person for the game, and so I do want to share real quick. I'm going to share with you guys just his question that he got on the in the post game. Just give me a second here. We'll cue it up, and here we go.
Hey, was there something wrong with Kofi today? He seemed to be passing up on a lot of shots today, some open shots.
No, we just don't want to shoot the ball, on the first side. We want to make sure that we make the teams defend, some. Jacob's 3-point shot is going to be there, whether it's in the first 10 seconds or the next 15 seconds.
And that's so shout out to Jack for getting his question in with Coach Sanchez, but it was a hot topic. I know it was out on Twitter, and everybody says, it's finally been said out loud.
Don't take the first shot. Don't take even if it's a good shot, don't take the first shot. We want to make them play defense.
Right. And and Kofi did have a good game, and I think Jack really and we talked about it, the wording of the question, but it's what it is. We got the answer that everybody wanted to hear.
Right.
Jack wasn't saying Kofi had a bad game. However, and there was one time, and I know Jack, we were talking about it the next day, Kofi was wide open for a 3 on the right side of the floor, I believe it was, and he hesitated. He almost took the shot, but then he ended up passing it, which you need to take him in rhythm. But
he's thinking too much.
Too much thinking. The dude can shoot. Let him shoot.
Jeff, I'm gonna be honest. The bigger problem ain't Kofi. I saw IMAC passing up shots.
Yes.
After he had scored 14 in the first half, he didn't score again. And in the second half, he was not hunting his shot. There was even in the first half, when I was watching, and he was draining everything. He left shots on the floor.
Yeah.
Now they might have been a little earlier than what Coach Sanchez wants, but good gosh, man, there's certain times I'm yelling at the TV, shoot the ball.
And Jay, when
you shoot the ball, you're down 15 most of that game, 10, 15 points.
That's what I was going to say.
Or more.
Down all game. And yet we got to work the defense. We got to tire the defense out. I mean, it's just, Tony Bennett was able to win a national title playing this way. And, between the athletes and Tony Bennett's a special coach, and he'll always hold a special place at UVA for winning a national title. But, changes need to be made. And I think you put on X, the one thing about it is I don't think this will be controversial when they decide to make those changes. So anyway.
I don't see how anybody could argue, hey, we need to give Ron a contract, because it's not like you can keep him on an interim tag again. So you're going to have to commit to him for like 4 or 5 years. And after what we've seen, who would do that?
Right. And when he went to Charlotte, was he running the same offense there? Was he running the sides? And
I don't know what
I didn't pay good attention. Yeah.
But he didn't win out of the gate in Charlotte either. And by the end of his time there, he had turned him into a winner. So I guess that's like one point in the column of, if you give him a chance to build, what he and his vision is. But he's so entrenched with Coach Bennett, you have to believe, and also with the guys in the transfer portal this year, I mean, Bennett's even said Sanchez was pretty much the guy who got those guys in, like Saunders. I know Saunders specifically was talked about how Sanchez was like the guy, getting him here.
Wasn't Sanchez the guy? Wasn't he the guy that got Kofi there? I think that's what they said.
I'm not sure on Kofi, but they all have a piece in it. And my concern is not Sanchez at this point. he'll land on his feet as an assistant somewhere. And Coach Bennett, he has a little bit of a tree out there, not with head coaches necessarily, but there's a lot of guys that have branched off, from him. Like the coach at Notre Dame, assistant coach at Notre Dame.
Getter.
It was at UVA forever. I can't think of his name off the top of my
It was
head.
Getter.
But
Getter.
say again.
Getter.
Coach Getter. That's yeah. But he'll land on his feet. My concern is for the UVA guys. Like Williford's been here forever.
Yep.
Kyle Guy just got in.
Yep.
Who am I missing?
You got Chase Coleman's been there a couple years.
Is Chase still there? I don't see him usually. Okay.
Yeah, he's there. I see him. Isaiah Wilkins.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those are the guys that I worry about because sure they'll get jobs, but they probably won't be ACC. I mean, Kyle Guy probably stays on staff as a young guy. I would think whoever you bring in would want to keep a Kyle Guy.
Mm-hmm.
But you probably let and maybe Wilkins because he's a younger guy too, and maybe Coleman. But you run out of room. You want to bring your own guys in. So, like maybe one of those guys gets kept. And for Williford, I hate to see it, man. He's given his life to the university.
Yep.
And that's why I would have liked to have seen him get the opportunity instead of Sanchez. We said this back when it happened. They didn't go that way. I don't think the season would have been a whole lot different with Williford. I have no idea. Could be better, could be worse. I really don't know. But I would have liked to have seen him get the opportunity just because he never left. And two, he's a UVA guy. So,
right.
But didn't happen. And unfortunately, you hope he stays on, but more than likely, new coach will want to bring their own guys.
Right. But we got to hear it for our own ears. Not what we already knew. The one thing that was a little disappointing in that press room is, and I know we put it out that Jack was questioned or criticized for asking that question, and that's fine. We all criticize. We get criticized. We criticize others for questions, and I understand the critique of really how it was asked. However, and we don't know who this was. There's an older gentleman in the back of the room when Coach Sanchez left out of the room. It's not that not that Jack was criticized. It was actually how he was criticized. A couple things. Jack's an 18-year-old young man who is getting his feet wet in this industry, and so you would hope that somebody older would be there to be willing to mentor, and maybe if they think that question is inappropriate, maybe after Sanchez walks out, as Mr. Strickland used to say, "Hey son, come here," and say, I think you could have reworded that question, or that I don't think that was a very good question. And then Jack, is for him to accept the critique. But I always tell him, listen to these guys and gals who've been in these rooms forever.
For sure.
This is not the example of who he should listen to or strive to be. This guy came up to Jack. Jack's sitting there. This guy came up to Jack and poked him in his back, and he reached around the corner and he took the paper, the stat sheet, and started pounding on it, was getting loud with him. How could you ask a question like that? That guy Kofi scored 17 points tonight. You can't ask coach a question like that. And was going on until the Notre Dame coach came in. Now, I will say this, that gentleman, he wouldn't have done that to anybody else in the room. He saw Jack as a target. If he saw Jeff Lowe in that room, which I'm not getting in the room, but if he saw me in the room, he ain't gonna do it to me.
No, and if he did, he wouldn't just have had nothing said back, for sure.
Correct. Right. And so, it's I think it's pretty dang inappropriate, and shame on that guy. Jack doesn't even know who it is, and he's in that room actually quite a bit. He'll be there for the Virginia Tech game, and so Jack, we know who a lot of those folks are in that room, and it's pretty embarrassing for somebody to go in there and act like that, especially as an older guy who could potentially mentor somebody. You ain't asking for him to mentor anybody, but you don't have to act like a jackass.
Right. Don't say anything. If somebody wants to criticize it, let it be one of the. I mean, I don't know. Bacher could, if he wants to criticize him or something, but
yeah. Listen, I just wanted to put it out there because, when we mentioned on X that he was criticized for it, really the thing is, it's not that he's criticized for it. Like, if you want to criticize, you criticize. If you got to have, and this is a good lesson for Jack, you got to have thick skin in this industry. So if you're going to be a reporter, if you're going to be in the media, you got to have thick skin because you're out there for the public's consumption and you're going to be discussed and your opinion is going to be talked about. And so you're going to be criticized. You're not going to make everybody happy. So great, I guess, practice for Jack. However, man, that's pretty
Bush
pretty
League.
dang terrible. It's
Bush League.
It's Bush League. But,
and I will say, and I had texted Jack and you this, because Jack had texted, I think you had muted our conversation because you were watching the game. And I told Jack, well, regardless of the question, like, and I said, the wording of was something wrong with, okay, you want to criticize, is something wrong with, because that could imply like injury and,
right. Or like he didn't play well.
Right. But the intent was clearly because he followed up something wrong with, he passed up a lot of open shots.
Right.
So the intent was very clear, if you listen to the whole question, lesson learned for me too, because you too, we go in the room for football.
Yeah.
And if we ask a question, we got to, we think, we had messaged with somebody off air about it and just said, hey, lesson learned,
Yeah.
good question. And we'll just think about the wording.
Yep. And then look, if I'm one who gets in there and I'm soft. I'm new to this. I haven't asked. I don't put the hand up, but I appreciate critique. I do.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the only way I'll learn. I mean, I'm old and, I haven't been, Jack's just getting started. So critique for Jack is great. I encourage people to critique him and give him ideas or suggestions. And he has to choose what he selects. And, you can't take everybody's advice, but it's good to hear from people in that room. You've got Jackie Franchuli, you got,
Preston Willett, Mike,
Barber.
Yeah.
Why can't I say my man?
Jerry Ratcliffe.
Jerry Ratcliffe, thank you. With a wealth of knowledge. So those are great people.
Scott Ratcliffe, a lot of nice guys.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
To get help from and advice from and be critiqued from. And I would just tell this guy he could go kick rocks. Yeah. And if he thinks that I'm in the wrong, that he's invited on to the Cavalier Connection. So
we got an open forum right here for him.
Any of you out there who know who this guy is, tell him he's welcome on Cavalier Connection anytime, and I'll debate him, and I'll debate him. But anyway, enough negativeness there. Moving on. This week had football released their schedule. So, Jay, initial thoughts on this schedule. I know this doesn't have dates listed up.
Yeah, I mean, the dates are out. It was just the one that I chose. I probably should have chose another one.
Well, this one was an easy one for me. So I took yours and made this because it was easy to make it big. If you look at our thumbnail for tonight's episode, you'll see the schedule with the dates on there.
Okay.
But
cool.
This is nice and big for people to be able to see opening the season with Coastal Carolina and finishing it up as always with Virginia Tech at home. Any initial thoughts, Jay?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I can't look at this and not just get a huge smile. Because it's like, all right, this is, once the schedule comes out, you start counting down the days. And I mean, we kind of knew Coastal Carolina was the opener and when it was and everything. And we kind of knew a couple of the dates that had come out leaked a little bit early, but heavy home on the early part of the season. I think 4 of the first 5 are home.
4 of the first 5.
Yeah, so you want to make hay there. None of them are going to be easy, but man, another point. We're talking schedule, but we don't want to forget to mention. Lo Davis talked about, 2 to potentially 4 guys from that national championship game going into the portal and, us having a shot. And we landed 2 of them. The second one we got just yesterday, wide receiver from Notre Dame, who was a player on the team. He wasn't just on the team. He was a player, Jaden Thomas. And he's got 1 year left. He had 3 years, and he averaged about 20-25 catches a year. I think if you looked at the totality, had a touchdown catch though against Indiana in the playoff game. And just, you're adding a super talented player, who's looking to, at Notre Dame, he's a small fish in a big pond. And if you consider maybe we traded him and Malachi, him for Malachi.
Right.
And we love Malachi. I wish he would have stayed, but he, come to Virginia and you're going to get a lot more opportunity. And the offense that we run is conducive to wide receivers putting up some pretty big stats if we have a quarterback and an O-line that is productive. But so that's that. The schedule, Jeff, man, the first thing I noticed was the bye before Virginia Tech. That super excites me because you do remember Tony Elliott is undefeated coming off the byes.
Oh yeah.
So we got a streak there, and not to mention just the bye before Virginia Tech. Do you know Virginia Tech's schedule?
I haven't really looked at it.
Do you know who they play before while we're sitting at home on bye?
I'm gonna guess maybe North Carolina,
The Miami Hurricanes.
Miami. Okay.
So they're going to be coming off a really tough physical Miami, and I feel like every year we're at a disadvantage going into that Tech game for whatever reason. I know they've had years where they've had byes going into it, and we've played games, and I just always feel like we're at a disadvantage going in. Maybe we've had a tougher opponent than them. Whatever. This is the first year I'm looking at it like we have a bye week to prepare for them. And they've got an extremely difficult game before us. Like that sets up so well. But again, looking at the other part of the schedule, I think it's pretty balanced, and every game on the schedule is winnable. I don't look at this as any game here. Like Lowe talked about getting crazy in the playoffs. AC going to Charlotte, AC title game,
right.
not playoffs. But if you win that game, then you're in.
You're right.
I look at this schedule and think the ceiling, he's absolutely right. Now, we don't, do you hit your ceiling? Washington Commanders hit their ceiling this year. Let's just say the NFC Championship game was the ceiling. The Eagles were just way better than us, whatever. But is the ceiling getting to Charlotte and playing whichever ACC team ends up being the best team this year? It's not out of the question.
That'd be one heck of a season.
Yeah, more than likely, I say we finish with 7. 7 wins is, and I don't know. I don't know because the schedule is so balanced, Jeff. I don't know where they come from. Right. Like I feel like we know. I'm going to say we don't know, but if I were locking in games that if we don't win, cut the lights out for the season and let them go home. Coastal Carolina, William and Mary, and then probably Wake Forest. Even them though. I mean, it's in Charlottesville.
What about Stanford?
Stanford should be, but you don't. I haven't followed their portal, what they've done with the class coming in. I know last year Stanford wasn't great.
Right.
And they're coming across country to Charlottesville. That's what you gotta. I mean, if you want to be your ceiling 100%.
Right.
I mean, but the toughest game on the schedule to me is at Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
And then, always Virginia Tech is tough. But, if
I'm
being honest and taking into account what talent is on the team, at Louisville is by far the toughest game. Virginia Tech will probably come in, with 6 or 7 or 8 wins. They've got a pretty difficult schedule this year. They open with South Carolina, and then they also play Vanderbilt again. And that quarterback, I think, somehow got back to Vanderbilt. The guy, he's got to be like 25 years old. But so they won't be a walkover. Florida
Virginia
State,
Tech.
I would say Florida State could obviously reload and be really good. Who knows? But what do you see?
I don't know. I said Virginia Tech, they're going to be a 6-win team again. Like, they're just what they are. Last year, we hyped them up. We thought they were going to be something special, and they're kind of like the Miami of the ACC. They get hyped up, and then they let their fans down just as much. All the Tech hate that they send our way, and we earn it for head-to-head. But their program's in as much disarray as our program has been in. But yeah, I think 7, 8 wins. A 6-win season gets you to a bowl, and last year we said that was a good season. I don't think that's a good season this year. I mean, we want to go bowling, but I don't know. We talk about we just got the receiver from Notre Dame, and but we just lost. We just had a receiver from Notre Dame and Tyree, and that didn't work out. So those things make me nervous, and it wouldn't make me nervous except for the fact that it's the same offensive coordinator. And we'll see what happens. A different quarterback, though. And
I think we're going to see a night and day.
I think so, too.
From quarterback that we had to the quarterback we have now. And I think we're going to see a night and day difference with the offensive line.
Yeah, oh, no doubt. With that, with the depth they've added.
Brady Wilson and Brian Stevens, I'm going to call that a wash. They were both excellent. Brian Stevens, take nothing away from him. If he'd have stayed healthy, we may have won that 6th game to go to a bowl this year.
Right.
But that didn't happen. So, but Brady Wilson is that level caliber of player. He's a very good center. And then you look at the guys we brought in with the guys we have returning. We brought in 4 offensive linemen in the portal?
Yeah, I believe it was.
It was Wigginton. Do you have up the list?
I don't have it. If you give me a minute, I'll get it.
I mean, the big tackle from Louisville, Monroe Mills.
Correct.
I mean, he was the best. I don't know if people understand this. He was the best left tackle in the transfer portal. What's the most important position besides quarterback?
Left tackle.
Left tackle.
As your quarterback's a right-hander.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm pulling it up right now. We got
so you had Wigginton, Monroe Mills, Brady Wilson, and I know
Jamari Taylor.
Well, he's a running back.
Running back.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The long snapper. We brought in the All-American long snapper.
So Brady Wilson, as you already mentioned. We brought in
Wigginton. Friend of the show.
Having a hard time pulling them up. Yep. But anyway, having a hard time pulling them up.
Yeah, no worries.
The
point is we've reloaded tremendously. And then you look at the guys on defense. I mean, we got a D tackle from Alabama. We got a defensive end that played in the national championship game. We brought in
defensive
kid
back,
that was 3rd team all ACC 2 years ago at safety.
Yep.
I mean, there's playmakers at every level, and we kept Cam Robinson, maybe the most important player of all.
Yes.
And in the spring, this team will add defensive back help. I have no doubt. So
I say now it's what it is. There's guys on the team that are not gonna have spots for. There's more to have to transfer out to make room for what's come in.
I don't know who was talking, Jeff. I was listening to Ball Hawk's last Twitter space. Have you listened to that?
No.
It was, I don't know. It was probably a week or so ago. But one thing he said, and I hadn't really thought about a whole lot, and it's true. When Virginia decides it's going to be good at something, it becomes good at it. So like baseball was kind of lost in the wilderness and almost got cut. They almost did away with baseball at UVA.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, after they put some money into the program, we won a College World Series. Women's softball, that program was almost cut. They were a doormat, program. Terrible. They put money into it. Look at what they're ranked in the preseason top 25. Our baseball team is now number 2 to 5 in the country, depending on what poll you're looking at.
Yeah.
You got, I mean, we've always kind of put money into our swimming and facilities and things like that.
All of our Olympic sports.
Yeah, I mean, what we strive to be good at, we're good at, and we just put a lot of money into football.
Yeah.
The Hardy Center, the guys that
The
we've,
donation.
you know, yeah, the guy. I mean, I'm just gonna say we paid for in the portal, you know. So I'm super excited, and I'm focused on. I mean, I look at the schedule and think, who's better than us? And I would say probably Louisville. Other than that,
North Carolina could be tough with Belichick coming in, and
is
you
he
know,
going to
they're-
be relatable to these college kids though?
Yeah, but he's coaching. He's coaching the team. They've gotten some portal pickups since he came on. Just the name, I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win this year. I do. Now
I don't expect them to be bad, but yeah, I mean,
it's at
I'll
North
give
Carolina.
you,
It's a tough
and we're
game.
at Carolina,
Yeah, tough
so
game.
I'll give you that one. And then obviously Tech, I think, I don't know what they've done in the portal. I know they have a fairly highly ranked class,
Theirs was
just like
ranked.
we do.
I say theirs was ranked a little higher than ours.
Yeah,
But they've also lost a ton of pieces too. I want to say 20 went out in the portal.
yeah. And they brought in new coaches. Just today, they brought in a new defensive coordinator guy it was an assistant coach with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are you going to get from a new staff and upheaval? One thing that I think Tony, he didn't want to make the staff changes that everybody wanted to make was because when you do that, now you got to learn a new system. So you bring in a new coordinator, even if you're running the same plays, it's a different language.
Different language. Yep.
So, that continuity, although we have so many new players, if you were going to start over, it would probably not have been a terrible time to do it. But, I can't wait until August. What is it, August 30th, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, exciting time. Yeah, we added the other ones that it's Tyshawn Wyatt from JMU. I
that's
knew
right.
the JMU guy. I couldn't think of his name.
And if he's healthy, he's a really strong. He had a lot of health problems his last year. I think he missed all of last year. I want to say, I could be wrong. I want to say he missed all last season. But you get a guy like him back and getting back to the level he was playing at before he got injured. And I mean, man, it's just competition. Last year we didn't have that playable depth.
Right.
Our starters were okay. But you look at a guy like Mikhail Boley's not the left tackle on this team anymore. Friend of the show. He's not the left tackle anymore. So where is he going to play? Is he going to move to right tackle? Well, that means Blake Steen ain't playing no more. So, like, the guys that you saw on the field last year, even if they're still on the roster, they're going to have to earn their spots. And competition brings out the best in everybody.
Yeah.
Or the worst, and you leave.
Yeah.
Like, you could be a quitter if you want, or you can go find another place where you can start. But if your plan is to play in the NFL, and some of the guys we've talked to, that's their plan. You can't run from competition in college and think you're going to play in the NFL.
Yep. Yeah, no, exciting schedule. Florida State's a Friday night game, I believe.
Yep.
I look at the schedule for what's my availability.
Jeff, I'm looking at it like 3 weeks in a row ain't happening in the Ballard household. That is not going to fly. I can tell you.
Well, see, and I'm hoping for some late games because I like our games to be on the back half for home for selfish reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously I want a home game that first weekend because that's easy for them to make. So just if you haven't watched our show before, I don't know if Jayton is going to play baseball in the fall, but my youngest plays fall baseball, and I'm always coaching him, and even if I wasn't coaching him, I'm not going to miss his games. You only get a certain amount of time when you get to watch them play.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to miss their games to go to the Virginia football games. I just got to watch the football games from home. But Coastal Carolina will be a good one for me to be able to make. William and Mary, that's probably opening week of baseball for us. Stanford, they may make that a 3:30 game or something, or maybe just because them coming from the West, or it could be a
6
night.
o'clocker. Yeah,
Six,
ACC network or something.
6 o'clock would be good for me. I'll be able to make that. Florida State, I can make. Washington State's probably a no-go, just depending on the time, though. Once again, Wake Forest is getting in at the point where season's about done, and I don't have the dates on the screen, so I've looked at all the dates, though.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Virginia Tech is a go.
Yeah. Hopefully we get approval for that.
Yeah.
I think we will. If I could change one thing about the schedule, Jeff, is I would flip William and Mary and Coastal. I don't like opening with a team that has a possibility of beating you.
Right.
I'd much rather open with a William and Mary, and get some kinks out of the way against them. But hopefully, we beat Coastal Carolina pretty handily at Coastal last year. Hopefully, we can do that. Otherwise, looking at going to Cal and Stanford on the year, playing both of them. I'm glad we're playing NC State out of conference. I think that's an important note. When you look at the schedule, you'll see 9 ACC teams, but NC State is an out of conference game. So,
yep. How about a road trip to Duke? Hey, Jay,
we've done that multiple times. We just got to make sure we don't sit beside the guy that you tried to fight back in. I don't know, what was that? Probably 20. Yeah, what would you guess that ago. Was? Probably like 26.
Jack was alive.
2007.
Jack was later than that. Jack was about 4, because I just remember scooping him up and getting out of there.
So about 2010.
So Virginia had been getting beat pretty good during the game. We had come back, and I don't say anything to anybody in the stadium. I'm not there to talk trash. And I just stood up and celebrated when we made a big play, and this dude started just yapping at me. And
turns out he was Duke football alumni.
Yeah. He's yapping at me because I celebrated when we made a play. So he told me, he said, I used to play for the team. I said,
and I think Jeff said something along the lines of, well, you must not have been very good then in high school, because you would have gone somewhere besides Duke.
I did say, and Duke football's come a long ways.
It has.
At the time, though, I said, and you think that impresses me? You guys suck. And then, of course, Virginia ended up tying or taking the lead. They went down and kicked a field goal to win it at the end. And so, I had to I scooped Jack up, and I had to put access back as quick as I could get out that stadium, because I knew, I said, oh God, I'm about to get to business.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy we make that trip down to Duke.
That'd be a good one. I liked when we went to North Carolina. Memorable game where we kicked was it Garcia? I think kicked a 50-yarder at the gun to win the game.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, I'm all open to make a road trip or two.
We could talk to the Hill brothers, see if they wanted to get together for that.
Link up with the Hill brothers for that. That's a good idea. We've been to NC State before too.
Yep.
Parked on
it was a fun atmosphere. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they had a good.
We were there during the North Carolina State Fair.
Oh yeah.
And Dan Ellis led the Cavaliers to a big win that day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people were chewing tobacco and spitting it in the stands, and we were parked along the side of the farm. I thought I was at home.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And we walked in there, and that environment's actually really good. I was pretty impressed with it. So exciting. Football is. I say it's coming. It's exciting you get the schedule, but we're a ways out.
Yeah.
The Commanders took that L on Sunday, and so now the disappointment of not being able to watch them anymore. It's
the
tough.
way that the calendar works, Jeff. Football never stops.
It's true. It's true.
Before you know it, we'll be talking about the spring and spring ball. Hopefully we can work out going to the spring game. There's a lot of alumni there. We can hopefully get some, spot interviews with. I ran into Joey Blunt last year, and I was too chicken to say anything to him. And then I talked to a lot of guys actually that were recruits and stuff like that. But yeah, I got to grow a pair sometime and just talk to the guys.
Yeah. Well, I got to put my hand up in the press room, but yeah. So we'll be getting back at you guys later in the week, and then Saturday post Virginia Tech game, post game, we should be on with Dougie Fresh and Company for a little live post game. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, locker room access, not on our channel.
Access. Yeah,
on locker room access.
And then they're gonna flip it around and come join us and jump on with us for, I want to say, Georgia Tech. Is that the one I said? Georgia Tech game. Oh yeah, because it's Tony Bennett's. That'll be Tony Bennett's appreciation.
Yep.
So
if I miss that, I'll be traveling to Atlantic City Saturday, staying at the Tropicana. So wish me luck. I'm hoping I can be on. I really am, but I may have to listen to the game, so I don't know how much insight I'll really have.
Hey, we don't need insight. It's just for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah.
Look, we play Miami tomorrow night. Miami comes in at like what 4 wins on the year.
4 wins, I think, and they're favored.
And 0-9, 0-9 in the ACC.
And I'm pretty sure they're favored, Jeff.
It may be. I haven't even looked at the line. Listen, full transparency, Saturday night. I wouldn't have done this in the past, but I'm like, me and Shannon went out and got a bite to eat. We went to the casino. I was like, I'll just record the game. Like, why would I skip anything right now for a Virginia basketball game? I'll just watch it on record.
Right.
Because that was a terrible basketball game.
Right. Oh, it was.
And I had to mute the conversation because Jay had put in there, I think you put in there great start. And so I was fooled by that actually. So I'm like, dang, I thought, man, we must have got off to a great start. And I got home and I was like, oh, I know what Jay meant. This is that
I also put another message in there. And then I remembered that you said, hey, I'm gonna be watching it on tape. And I was like, oh crap, let me text Jack directly.
Yeah, and Jay's telling our age when he says I'm looking at it on tape. VHS days. So
that's right.
So tomorrow night we play Miami. We'll get back at you guys later in the week, and then Saturday, like I said, get on with the crew with Dougie Fresh and Company, and then we'll see Virginia Tech on Saturday. Hopefully Jack can behave himself in the presser and not ask anything stupid. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. Feel free to check us out. Go on YouTube and subscribe to our channel at the Cavalier Connection Podcast. On Twitter, we're at Talk UVA Sports, or you can go to thecavalierconnection.com and listen. I mean, I'm new at this whole thing. I'm trying to keep it updated. I put our last couple episodes on the other day, and I'm pretty happy. We got our first actual legit comment from the website from a fan who went on the website and sent us a message and went to the email. It's the little
means
things,
a lot.
Jay.
That kind of stuff means a lot as new to this. We've been going at it for a little over a year. And we have come from absolutely no knowledge to almost absolutely no knowledge.
That's right.
But any feedback we get, we've gotten a lot of constructive stuff that has helped us to, I hope, put out a better product. And so anything you think we could do better, any segments you want to see, anything we're not talking about, anything you'd like us to talk about, feel free to send us comments and emails, and we're very responsive on X. Try to respond to everybody that messages us. Or
I shot an email out. I shot an email back to our guy who sent us a message from the site. And also, I'm pretty impressed. Jay is in his press seat tonight in Scott Stadium. There's a little action going
inside Scott Stadium. I'm constantly looking around for security, make sure I ain't about to get busted. But I am in the press box right now at Scott Stadium, as you can see behind me.
Pretty impressive there to pull that off here, Jay. So, yeah.
I even got him to turn the lights on for me.
And there's a few people out there on the field just trying to give you a little background.
Oh yeah.
background there. So I love it. Anyway, yeah, check us out on the website. And like Jay said, it is the little things, and we appreciate it. So we have a good time. I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you guys later in the week, and go Who's.
Go Who's.